Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back, everyone. We are starting the video off on Solana today. Solana, because I do think people need to be aware that we are in a little bit of a resistance area. As you can see, if we were to take this 21 EMA to the top, you are at that resistance right now. Between 148 and 167, I expect a slap. We have 2 more days for this weekly candle to close, so you got to give it that much time. I'm going to actually go to a lower time frame, such as daily now, so we can kind of look at when we should be looking for this little bit of resistance. Right now, today's daily close, you have about 12 hours left. You're basically hitting our resistance, and the first tap already gave you rejection, so the second tap might get us a little bit more into that 160 area. Depending on the daily close, if we close above the wick, we can look for continuation into the end of the week. If we close underneath the wick, then we have to be prepared and ready for a possible test of support. Your first level of support is going to be over here at 130. Losing the 130, you have the risk of going and retesting into the 121 area. And then the 121 is like the kind of last Midar Air step before you lose that level of support and come and tap into 112, 113, and it could be even a deeper dive all the way into 95, 96 area. So this is something that I'm looking at for right now in Solana. You see that we recently just broke out of this order block, which I could encompass channel. So you can see this right here. And then where I did my doodle, we'll just go right to the doodle. Go about like right there-ish. And then this can be our bullish retest order block situation. It's only if you lose this midline here that you get this much, much deeper dive. Okay, and then if it goes under $95, I would have to step back and kind of wait to see a daily close to get more data as to, hey, are we going for a deeper retrace or not? Right now, since we have been going up a long time, a fast move up can result in a fast move down. We recently had a fast move down, which was this insane wick about this is this is Solana. Okay, so this is about a $20 drop and then a quick right buy up. So if this candle would have closed underneath 120, I would have been much more confident of a sideways, descending channel formation. But the fact that you had that daily close above, and everything did this, okay? Almost all assets closed above it. Here's another example. Flash daily candle close above, next daily bullish engulfed. Same thing happened here. And then we have continuation. Well, we didn't get continuation here. We hit resistance and we actually dropped back down. And then we continue to make this bull flag before the breakout, right? So this right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, biggest, 6, and 7. In my opinion, all 7 waves after this bottom have been put in. And you could get an A, B, C over here before continuation for another 7 waves up, down, whatever it wants to do. But at the point I'm trying to get at is if you've already been in Solana for a very long time, you've made a lot of money, a little bit of take profit here is logical, and that will give you a little bit of cash flow for you to rebuy when it does come back lower, if it comes back lower. Not saying anything that it is or isn't. I'm saying that the probability of it to come back test support is there, and if so, you want to be a buyer at that support. Okay, you don't want to be a buyer at the resistance. You want to be a buyer at support, and then I have clearly marked out support with this silly channel over here. So it's kind of like, hey, if you get an opportunity to buy and it comes into this channel, why wouldn't you take it if you're bullish on this asset? It's only when you lose this midline of this channel that I'm like, all right, this little thing is now starting to look like a head and shoulder distribution top like this. Here is your shoulder. Here is your one head. And if you come down here and you can't stay above the midline, even coming to this level is a very, very risk that this $30 level is gonna help make your shoulder here. Okay, and then you kind of got a little diamond exchange over here before you have a breakout or breakdown continuation. Because you don't know if we are literally starting a larger break down and break out. Because this right here is a great trap for bears. Not bears, bulls. Market maker had plenty of time to buy this. This asset has a lot of litigation behind it as well. FTX and what was it? FTX and forgot the other name of the exchange. They actually settled for like about $1 billion. So they were marking up this asset just to cash out for the collapse of FTX. They had to repay the regulators and stuff. So just be aware that now that their job is done and the debts is paid, market making this coin and impulsing it to the upside, there better be other reason for that. And hopefully it's excitement that the case is over. But the point of the matter I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what or if anything, like right now, you're at resistance. You just took the liquidity of the previous wick over here. The last attempt, you had a rejection right before you took the liquidity. This time you took it. So depending on this week's close, we can possibly get a little bit higher, maybe like, the 150, 160, whatever. Like I was saying, the 160-ish is where I was looking for that next level of resistance, and it makes sense if you look left, the wick. But if we don't get to 160 this week, next week opens, the possibility of you getting a push back to support, maybe like 130-ish, it's there, and I just want you to be prepared for it. And it's not bearish, it's just basically a bullish retest of support. Like this little flag here broke out. Well, it can flag one more time over here and then break out. Okay, I'm not saying that this is going to be the top, but the distributional is starting, in my opinion, to form for a retest back down for support. And then we can see if we have gas in the tank for higher or not. Okay, the support needs to be defended by buyers and the sellers need to not be selling. And then we will basically be cementing this as a bullish order block for continuation to the next markup level. So around $110, it's very, very, very solid support. And I would even like to say around 120 is very, very solid support moving forward in Solana. And until that we close a daily underneath 120, I wouldn't be very concerned about major downside. And even if you lose 110, you have about $90 as support on a weekly time frame. Daily won't even let you go that low. Daily is telling you you got 122, which makes sense. 122, 125. 122 is basically solid support. And then after that, you can have a concern of like 80s and 90s, stuff like that. So when that occurs, when the range breaks, I will make a video. Okay, probably all assets will be feeling the pain at the same time. Solana is not a special case that it's not gonna get a little bit of profit taking, people trying to short the top, etc., etc., etc. That is very, very common. Aside from that, guys, I want you to just take a quick look at Dixie. Yes, there you go. All you guys who were watching the videos before I started taking the member videos private, you remember I used to go over Dixie every day, right? Look what's going on with it on a daily time frame. What does this mean to you? I don't know, but you know what this means to me. Uh, Maybe we'll find support here at 102.80. Did I expect us to lose 103? Not really. Not really. So this right here is central banks, inflation, monetary policy at work. ECB, if they do not cut rates And Powell says what he did yesterday about, hey, we've identified the small banks that have the most commercial exposure risks, and we've already reached out to them to make sure that they have the resources they need to control any kind of contagion spread that occurs. Like that kind of way that these guys are saying, everyone's ready for this crash. Freaking governors were shorting Apple stock in January and they're up 1 million because of the fact that they knew stuff was going to be occurring to the downside. So just be aware that DXY going down means dollar is stronger, and that means our domestic goods are going to be uh, basically, how do I explain this in a cash sense? Dollar strong is good for like savers, but for business, dollar strong makes domestic goods a little complicated. In another country, if their currency was too strong, their domestic goods would be too expensive. They would be seeking American subsidized goods because their country's currency is too expensive to basically partake in the business of like domestic goods. So they're always taking exports because they're cheaper. You know, American Army exports a lot of milk, cheese, bread, rice, etc. because we subsidize our farmers to grow that for our military, and all the surplus we basically give out. And that is why some countries don't use their domestic milk, rice, whatever, because it's too expensive. Like the rich people can buy it, but the poor people have to go get that American subsidized goods. So you know how we airdrop food to like the people around the world that are in war times. It's that stuff. So domestic dollar being too strong is good for like Americans in general if you are going to take that dollar and go use it elsewhere. If it's too expensive here, it's just, I mean, like for us, it's like a different, there's a lot of factors at play that if I start this conversation, obviously I just wasted 3, 4 minutes of trying to like explain it to you guys. But right now, the world is in a freaking battle between controlling their inflation. It's Europe versus America. And then between those two, whoever cuts first, it's going to put a shockwave in the currency markets. After that cut, there's another headache of Japan with their negative interest rates that we want to bring back into zero or positive. The second that occurs, our biggest bond buyers like China and Japan, that buying of the dollar bond will stop, meaning we won't have an option to print money to control our inflation due to the fact that we have no one to buy like the debt that we're trying to create. So this is what the future is a problem that's coming, and this is what everyone is trying to kind of plan and coordinate in a like soft landing fashion. Each country is trying to control it. Right now, I would highly like this kind of stuff makes me concerned because if this is really gonna tank, then the like it doesn't make sense why the world isn't catching on to crypto quicker. Okay. As this went down $1, Bitcoin went up $10,000. Okay. We were sitting at 103 for a couple days and we were just climbing. We never got rejection. We had a wick rejection, but that thing got bought up and the daily closed above that wick. This is basically saying that all this is telling me, all everything that I'm getting from this information, okay, on a weekly time frame, we are not at a top yet. We're getting there. We're not at a top yet. This was supposed to find support, but the fact that the EMAs are doing a bear cross here, then you are gonna have a weekly open. Well, you're gonna have a weekly close underneath this 103.50 level, which I've warned you guys for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. Okay, go look at every freaking video that we looked at Dixie. This level was extremely important. Now that we're closing underneath this level, right? This is what I had set up. If we lose this level here, it's gonna make the next leg. I mean, dude, like I don't want to get you guys like super hyped. 70K is butter. All right. If you go really, really, really understand currency, you look at Dixie, what Dixie did, and you look at this. Is this a proportional value, proportional 1-to-1? If we're inverse, etc., 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 are you seeing a 1-to-1 move like how Dixie did that and how Bitcoin did it? No, Dixie is like trickling down a little. Bitcoin is just exploding. This was our previous resistance, right? This just logically go look back at Bitcoin in 2017, 2012. What happened when it did this stuff? Okay. This is Bitcoin, right? Now let's just quickly look at ETH. ETH's got all this. ETH's got almost a freaking $800 move left in the tank before it even gets to the same posture as Bitcoin. Not to mention, you're in bullish control zone. Buyers ain't stopping. Like, go back to Bitcoin. Yeah, a little bit of sell, but the buyer still ain't stopping your bullish control zone, almost outside the Bollinger Band, on top of the bullish control zone on a weekly time frame. I'm just this is my free side warning. Okay, if you don't understand what this stuff is, if you have not watched my videos enough to understand what I'm trying to point out to you, damn, you're gonna lose some money. And you better educate yourself before you lose that money. Because I know you made a lot of money. You could have thrown your dart. You could have took some darts and just chucked it, okay, at a coin. If you went to coin market cap and just chucked it, almost any one of your coins is up 30-40%. Now what? Now what are you gonna do to protect your 30-40% gain? This is what a trader's job is. Let's see how many people can hold their gains. Let's see how many people are FOMOing in at the top. Let's see how many people cry like themselves to sleep in their wife's arms when we get that first real pullback. This was not a real pullback because obviously you didn't close. When you have the real